Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to really dig into the important stuff, get you properly informed on things that matter.
hmm
And today we're tackling something that, well, touches everyone, right?
Yeah.
Managing money. But not just about saving pennies.
No, it's much bigger than that.
Exactly. It's about building a life that feels more, I don't know, intentional, more fulfilling.
Yeah, finding that freedom from financial stress, maybe.
Precisely. So for this deep dive, we've plowed through the top 10 frugal living books for 2025.
Quite the reading list.
It was. And we've pulled out what we think are the absolute core ideas, the surprising bits, those aha moments for you.
And the idea isn't just about, like, cutting back everywhere. It's more fundamental.
It really is. It's about reshaping your relationship with your resources and I guess ultimately with your time and your freedom.
Yeah, it's fascinating, actually. You look at these books, and they come from such different angles. Some are super practical guides, others
Yeah.
are almost philosophical. But they all kind of lead back to this idea of living with more purpose, thinking about what wealth really means beyond just, well, money.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll unpack what makes each one special and what insights still really hold up today. Think of it as a shortcut, maybe, to understanding these different paths to financial calm.
Absolutely. A curated tour, if you will. We've grabbed the essence of each one, so hopefully you walk away not just knowing more, but feeling genuinely inspired.
Yeah, whether you're already a super saver or maybe just starting to think, maybe I could spend a bit smarter.
Hey, there's definitely something in here for you. So, okay, let's dive in. This exploration of frugal wisdom.
Let's do it.
Where should we start? Maybe with one of the real cornerstones, often called the Frugal Living Bible, The Complete Tightwad Gazette by Amy Daceyson.
Ah, yes, a classic.
It really is. What makes it so foundational? What are those maybe quirky principles that have made it last?
That's a great place to start because, its core insight is actually pretty simple, but it's also quite deep. It's this idea that true frugality isn't about feeling deprived.
Right. Not about sacrifice.
Exactly. It's more like an inventive art form.
Yeah.
Amy Daceyson was just brilliant at showing how you could transform what you already have into what you need.
Resourcefulness.
Totally. It's like a masterclass in it.
Hmm.
She really laid the groundwork for so much of the frugal thinking we see now, just by showing you how to repurpose, reuse, think creatively before you automatically buy something new.
Okay.
And her detailed tips, like the coupon strategies, they weren't just about clipping cents here and there. It was part of a bigger picture, making every single resource work harder for you, including even the time you spend shopping.
Ah, interesting.
It's about seeing potential where maybe other people just see, well, trash or waste.
I love that phrase, an inventive art form. That really shifts the perspective, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay, so if the Tightwad Gazette gives us the practical, ingenious how-to, our next book takes a much deeper dive, almost spiritual, you could say.
Your money or your life.
Yes, by Vicki Robin. How does this one fundamentally change how we even think about money itself?
Oh, this one's powerful. It offers this really profound shift in perspective. It basically says that every dollar you spend, it's not just money.
Okay.
It's actually a piece of your life energy,
Yeah.
your irreplaceable time.
Wow. Okay.
Think about it, right? That money represents the hours you worked, the effort, the limited time on this earth you traded to earn it. So when you frame every single purchase like that as trading a chunk of your finite life energy, it forces you to be incredibly intentional.
Yeah, suddenly that impulse buy looks different.
Totally different. You start asking, is this really worth the slice of my life I'm giving up for it? It pushes you to align your spending with what you truly value, what genuinely makes you fulfilled.
Which leads to freedom, presumably.
Exactly. A much deeper kind of freedom. It becomes about consciously steering your life, not just managing your bank account.
That really does reframe the whole thing, moving beyond just the numbers to something way more personal. And sort of building on that idea of intentional living, there's another book that broadens the focus even more, beyond just money. Minimalism. Live a Meaningful Life. This one's by Joshua Fields Milburn and Ryan Nicodemus.
Ah, the minimalists.
Yes. How do they connect this idea of, less stuff leading to more life?
Well, it's a great companion piece to Your Money or Your Life, actually, because it explains the how. How does having less stuff actually translate into having more life?
Okay.
And it's not just about, tidying your house, although that's part of it. It's much more about freeing up your mental space, your bandwidth.
Mental bandwidth. I like that.
Yeah, because think about it, when you're not constantly thinking about buying the next thing, or organizing the stuff you already have, or comparing what you have to what others have.
Right, the comparison trap.
Exactly. You just gain this incredible amount of mental and emotional energy back.
And what do you do with that energy?
Well, that's the point. You get to invest at things that actually matter more. Experiences, relationships, learning new things, maybe contributing to something bigger than yourself. So it positions frugality, or maybe minimalism in this case, as this really empowering choice. It's not about restriction. It's about gaining clarity and purpose, getting off that treadmill of just consuming and comparing.
Freeing up your mental bandwidth. That's a really powerful way to think about it. It highlights those non-money benefits, which actually we should circle back to later.
Definitely.
But okay, often the biggest problem is just starting, right? It can feel overwhelming.
For sure.
So for anyone feeling that, the Frugal Path to Freedom seems to offer something really practical, really actionable. What's the deal with its 30-day frugal living challenge? Why does that work so well?
Yeah, this one's clever. Its strength is that it doesn't just say spend less. It's actually designed to help you rewire your habits. Well, this 30-day challenge is basically a structured day-by-day guide. It makes saving money feel manageable and, importantly, kind of fun.
Fun. Frugality being fun.
Yeah, well, it breaks it down. It helps you spot those spending patterns you might not even be aware of, the sort of unconscious habits.
Right, the autopilot spending.
Exactly that. And by giving you these small, achievable wins every day for a month, it builds momentum. It shows you firsthand that tiny, deliberate changes can actually add up to big, lasting shifts in how you handle your money.
Takes the guesswork out of it.
Pretty much. And makes building those new habits feel, well, less like a chore and more like a game you can win.
I can see how getting those daily wins would be super motivating. Okay, so that's a month-long challenge. What if someone wants something even quicker, like a sharp reset?
Then you've got the No Spend Challenge Guide by Jen Smith.
Right. This one sounds intense. What's the key thing someone should know if they're thinking about trying a no-spend month for the first time?
Well, its power is really in its simplicity, its directness. If you've never intentionally just stopped non-essential spending for a period, this book is like your basic instruction manual.
So it's not about permanent deprivation.
Not at all. Think of it more like conducting an experiment on yourself. You set clear rules for, say, 30 days, no buying anything that isn't absolutely essential. And what happens is it forces you to see the difference between what you genuinely need and what you just habitually buy.
Impulse buys, convenient spending.
All that stuff. It helps you pinpoint your triggers, pushes you to find creative solutions using what you have, and often you realize a lot of your routine purchases just aren't necessary at all.
It sounds like it would be really revealing.
Oh, it is. It's incredibly eye-opening for most people. It really recalibrates your perspective on spending and helps you make more conscious choices afterwards.
That kind of deliberate pause, yeah, I can see the value. Now, building on that idea of intentionally cutting back, there's The Year of Less by Kate Flanders. This sounds like a really personal story.
It is, incredibly so. And that's why it's so relatable, I think. Kate Flanders documents her year-long shopping ban, but it goes way, way beyond just not buying things.
How so?
It's a really raw, honest look at confronting your own consumer habits, yes, but it ends up being about decluttering her whole life, not just her apartment, but her mental and emotional space, too. Her journey becomes about embracing minimalism, sure, but more deeply, it's about figuring out what truly adds value when you strip away all the excess noise of consumerism.
So the lesson isn't just buy less stuff.
Not really. The inspiring part is seeing how this conscious reduction led her to profound self-discovery, personal growth, and just a deeper sense of contentment. It kind of forces you to look inward for fulfillment rather than outward to the next purchase.
Really powerful to see someone document that whole process.
Absolutely.
And speaking of documenting journeys, Meet the Frugal Woods by Elizabeth Willard Thames. That's another incredible personal story, right? About achieving financial independence.
Oh, yeah. Their story is amazing.
How did they do it? And what was their sort of radical idea about what it means to be rich?
Well, their big insight, the really radical part, is this. Financial independence isn't necessarily about earning more money so you can spend more money.
Okay.
It's about deliberately choosing less consumption to gain more of other things, like more freedom, more time, more genuine happiness.
Choosing less to gain more.
Exactly. They managed to reach financial independence. You know, that point where your investments cover your living costs, so working becomes optional, super young.
How young?
Like early 30s.
Wow.
And their book shows how they embraced what they call radical frugality. But crucially, they frame it not as a sacrifice, but as this deliberate, even joyful path towards a life that felt richer and more fulfilling to them.
Away from the consumer treadmill.
Precisely. It's a fantastic example of those non-monetary returns we talked about, like having tons more time for their family, way less stress, and the freedom to actually pursue things they are passionate about.
Their story really does make you question the standard definition of rich, doesn't it?
Completely.
Now, okay, for people who hear that and think, right, I want a really significant shift, maybe even something bordering on extreme, there's Early Retirement Extreme by Jacob Lund Fisker.
Ah, yes, the hardcore option, some might say.
It definitely sounds intense. What's a common hurdle or maybe misconception people run into when they consider something that committed?
You're right, radical or extreme fits. And the big misconception is often that it demands this, miserable monastic life of constant deprivation.
Yeah, eating rice and beans forever.
Right. But Fisker's approach is actually incredibly systematic.
Yeah.
He lays out this detailed roadmap for how you could potentially retire decades earlier than normal.
Wow.
Through a very specific combination of, yes, extreme frugality, but also disciplined investing and a focus on self-sufficiency.
So it's a whole system.
It's a total life redesign, really. He challenges all the conventional ideas about work, retirement, consumption. He basically shows that if you optimize your life to need less and be more self-reliant, you can dramatically shrink the time it takes to become financially independent.
Maximizing freedom and time.
Exactly. Much, much sooner than most people even imagine is possible. The challenge isn't just the saving part. It's the huge mindset shift needed to see this path as one leading to abundance. Abundance of time, freedom, rather than scarcity.
It's definitely a compelling vision, though probably not for everyone.
Requires real commitment, for sure.
But what about, regular families? People often worry that being frugal means the kids miss out or the quality of life drops.
Right, that's a common concern.
Live Rich, Spend Less by Steve and Annette Economides tackles that head on, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. They offer this really practical, super down-to-earth guide specifically aimed at families.
What's their main message?
Their key insight is basically, you don't have to choose between raising kids well and living richly on less money. In fact, they argue that intentional spending and smart money habits can actually improve family life. They show you how to live really well, have abundance, without spending a fortune. They cover everything: smart grocery shopping, managing household bills, finding free fun, all while creating this fulfilling, happy environment for their kids.
Proving it can be done.
Yeah, they really prove that frugality can be a positive family value. It can foster creativity and resourcefulness in kids, and doesn't have to feel like deprivation at all.
That's such an important message for parents feeling that financial pressure.
Definitely.
Okay, so rounding out our top 10 and staying with the family theme, a crucial one for parents wanting to teach these skills early: Smart Money, Smart Kids. This is Dave Ramsey and his daughter, Rachel Cruz.
Yes, an essential guide for parents.
How does this book help parents build that strong financial foundation for their kids, one that hopefully lasts?
Well, what it does brilliantly is simplify what can feel like a really daunting task, teaching kids about money. Ramsey and Cruz give parents really practical tools and fun, real-world lessons.
Like what kind of thing?
Things that make financial concepts tangible for kids. They talk about using clear piggy banks or jars for saving, spending, and giving. They suggest setting up a lemonade stand to learn basic business ideas and the value of earning money.
Making it hands-on.
Exactly. It moves beyond just talking about money and gives parents concrete strategies. The whole goal is to provide a clear, step-by-step way to raise kids who understand money, who know how to manage it responsibly from a young age. It's about building that foundation for smart decisions throughout their lives.
And there we have it. Wow, that's quite a spectrum, isn't it?
It really is.
An incredible range of strategies and philosophies packed into those 10 books. We've gone from, the super practical, ingenious hacks in the Complete Tightwad Gazette.
All the way to the deep life energy stuff in your money or your life.
And the mental freedom focus of minimalism. Then you've got the actionable challenges from the Frugal Path to Freedom and the No Spend Challenge Guide.
Plus those really inspiring personal journeys in the Year of Less and Meet the Frugal Woods.
And then the more specialized approaches, the hardcore strategy and early retirement extreme, the family focus and Live Rich, Spend Less, and teaching kids with smart money, smart kids. It covers a lot of ground.
It really does. But the real takeaway isn't just knowing about all these different ideas.
Right. The value is in the doing.
Exactly. It's about applying them.
Yeah.
You don't need to read all 10 cover to cover or try to adopt every single philosophy overnight.
No, probably best not to.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But even if you just pick one core idea that really clicks with you right now, or one challenge you want to try, or maybe one new habit from any of these,
Mm-hmm.
that one thing could genuinely start shifting your financial path or how you approach your lifestyle. It's just about finding what resonates with where you are right now and taking that first or next step.
Well said. So, as you, our listener, reflect on all this, maybe here's a final thought to chew on, something to explore further.
Ooh.
How might getting more intentional with your money and your possessions do more than just save you cash? How could it actually free up your mental energy, your time, for the things you really value deep down?
Those non-monetary returns again.
Exactly. Think about the less stress, maybe more clarity, deeper connections, more time for passions. What could you potentially reclaim beyond just the dollars and cents if you adopted a more, let's say, consciously frugal mindset?
That is something worth pondering.
Definitely something to think about long after this deep dive wraps up.